What's good, everybody? It's Why Not Us podcast. It's your host, Ken J. It is Thursday Treasures. And they're back in the building together. You know, we got Carol and we got Candace Hart. So, how are y'all feeling mentally today?
Man, fabulous, fantastic.
Amazing, amazing. How about you, Candace?
I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling bright and sunny and just happy to be here.
All right, big energy, big energy. Now, you tell the people what's going on, and y'all got it.
Got it, got it. So it's back to school time.
It is.
In fact, I celebrate now that I'm retired. The first day of school for my former school district was yesterday. So I celebrated by not having to go in and do that.
Right. I know that felt good. And I feel like everybody that I'm talking to that has either a child or a nephew or grandson, granddaughter, they were just like getting their ducks in a row, getting those uniforms together. Because Monday morning, they were like, okay, I got to get back on my program because they got to be at school at a certain time. So it's good to see y'all back in school, though. It's time to check off the checklist and make sure you're moving on up in the academic system.
That's right. That's right. And we knew that, I mean, because, I taught school for 35 years. I know exactly when school starts, a lot of other things fall into place as well. I mean, movie industries structure differently. School has different, grocery stores have different displays. You see different commercials. So that really affects everything that happens in life. And why not bring in the conversation about money and finance?
I agree 100%. Money, it really does influence everything that happens in life. The conversation isn't had enough. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. We want to open these conversations, start these conversations so that people can, for one, be educated, but also that guard be brought down and it just be a normal thing eventually.
Yeah, I would love to be normalized. And there isn't a parent on the planet that doesn't want their children to have more than they had, be better off than they were, know more than they knew. And that's why having this conversation is really important. So, what Candace and I want to talk about is how going back to school is a way to actually go back to work with building your financial knowledge and your literacy. So, Candace, I think it might be cool if you kind of just give them just a little bit of background on yourself.
Yes, yes. So I love my mother. She's truly an angel straight from above because if it wasn't for her, my brother and I would have probably been trying to figure things out by ourselves, of course. But we were blessed enough to have experienced a collegiate experience, graduated from 4-year universities, and had zero student loan debt. And that's all based on scholarships that we knew how to find and strategically apply to that made us stand out, made that the people that are reading those applications, connect with us on paper before they even get a chance to meet us in person. And because of that, we were able to just rack up a whole bunch of scholarships. And it was enough to not have to pay any college tuition and not have to take out loans to sustain the cost of living too while you're in school, because a lot of people forget about that part. It's tuition, but then you got to live, you got to pay your rent, you got to make sure you can eat, you got to have money for the books. And then what if you want to study abroad? What if you want to travel? What if you just want to live your best life? You don't want to be in the bind and feel like you got to take out some student loans or kill yourself with a job when you need to be focused on school, so she's the reason for the season.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And that is really God's favor. So I'm just grateful that I was an open vessel to receive the information. My brain was like, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be another way than every kid just going into debt and trying to like navigate that system without any tutelage. So yes, I'm grateful. So thank you, Candace, for that compliment.
Yeah.
So yes, while she is a college graduate from UCLA, debt free. More importantly, Candace, what is it that you do now related to finance?
I love that you're interviewing me right now.
I'm going to do it differently in a minute, but go right ahead.
I love it. So I am a business owner in finance. And what that looks like is I'm a franchisee as well as a franchisor where I help people understand how money works to keep it so simple. And that looks different for everybody. For some people, they're trying to understand the basics of just saving and getting a grip on their spending habits, because Lord knows that's a great place to start if that's a problem, right? But other people, it's maybe diversifying investments. And for some, it might be, how do I get my income up so that I just have more wiggle room or I'm more liquid? Whatever that looks like, we bring clarity and a holistic approach to how to get ahead financially for your future.
I love it. I love it. And the best part of that is that she brought me along on that journey with her. And she clearly, just like a mommy wants her daughter and son to be better off, she understood that this was information I needed as well.
Yes.
So because of Candace, and I'm grateful for her, God knows it, for many reasons, I also work in the industry as well. So I'm basically own my business in the same arena. The difference is that I was able to reinvent myself at 56. So, most people, by the time they get to their mid to late 50s, they figure that what they've been doing is what they're going to continue to do. But that wasn't the case here. So just like Candace, our goal, my goal, our collective goal is to make sure our community is financially literate, educated, so that they can move accordingly with some sense of confidence and knowledge, so that at the end of the day, you know exactly what you're doing. And if nothing else, at least you're open to what the possibilities look like. So that brings us to our discussion today. While yes, Candace and her brother were very blessed not to have to pay money for college, there are some other programs in place now that I didn't have privy to even before that. And that's what we want to let you guys know about. As you think about whether your child or student is in the first grade or they're even in high school, it is never too late to change their financial future. And what we now know is that there are programs, strategies, accounts, and other things that will allow you to place your young person, as well as yourself, in position so that you can actually save money and not ever have to worry about losing that money. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, what's going to happen to it if it stays here? And then the most important part for me is that you never pay taxes on it.
Bingo.
I'm going to say that again. You never pay taxes on it. Now, everybody knows something about taxes one way or another. So as you're going back to school, Candace and I are going to talk a little bit about what that kind of looks like. But ultimately, like Candace says, it looks very different for every family. So at the end of the day, ultimately, within the next day or so, if not today, we'll be able to meet and talk with some of you, at least connect with you and show you what that would look like. So Candace, you want to talk a little bit about maybe what it looks like in terms of how that works?
Absolutely. Absolutely. For scholarships, exactly.
I'm thinking more about our particular fund where people are saving money for their children, because we know, and thank you for clarifying, because I think I was a little not nebulous, is that the average family parent, when they say, oh, I'm going to save money for my kids, they traditionally do one or two things. They stick it in a box in the closet, or they run to the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they get the 529 college savings, right? I've even seen some cases where parents will use stocks as like their kids' investments, I've seen a lot of different varieties of things, but if you're not well versed on investment, it usually is a savings account at the bank, shoebox, mattress, it's just like that's their corner, right? But I don't believe in that, guys, for one, because what if the house burns on fire? Then if you put money in a shoebox or in the mattress, the money is gone just along with the house, right? But also, your money can't grow in a shoebox, and it can't grow in the mattress, and it also cannot grow in the bank. So you have to first get in the mindset of, I need my money to work for me. I need my money to grow. And then get in the mindset of, what's the most strategic way to do that? And the best way to answer that is, what are your goals? Your goals determine the strategy that's best for you. Because not any of us are not the same. We're all different people, different walks of life, different backgrounds. So the strategies may look a little bit different. But believe it or not, there is a specific strategy out there. It's actually a product that comes from an insurance company, and it guarantees you no loss in the market. So when the market goes up, your money will grow with the market. And when the market goes down, your money will stay fixed. You wait until the market recoups, and then you'll have brand new growth. So with this strategy, it's called an index investment. So if anybody's on here and they're taking notes or actually like really tapped in and listening, please write that down. You spell index INDEX, index investment. Okay. Now with this index investment, your money's safe. It can grow. You're guaranteed no loss. And that's the best thing that you want for a child that is guaranteed to go to school in the future or just need money in the future, because obviously you don't want your child to turn 18 years old and they were supposed to have a certain amount of money, but because it's a pandemic or because it's a recession or the market's just down for whatever reason, now they don't have the money that they thought they would have. That's a catastrophe. So with this strategy, you are able to avoid taxes as well, simply because the investment is wrapped in a life insurance policy. So based on that, the IRS will not tax you on this money. They simply don't tax life insurance. And that's something that I feel our community needs to understand more about in general. Because traditionally speaking, you think about life insurance and your mind goes to, well, my kid's not dying anytime soon. My kid is a kid. Right? So that's not the focus for it. However, that is what the product is. And so you just take advantage of the benefits of the fact that you don't pay taxes and you don't lose money. So it makes sense for what your goals are for your child, right? This is how the wealthy and the rich approach money. It doesn't matter the title of the investment. Is it good for what your goals are? Does it make sense for what you need in the future that you're planning for? If so, then that strategy is good for you. It doesn't matter how it's labeled or how it's titled.
I love that. Yeah, what works for you. I love that. And I remember every year when it was beginning of the new school year, it was beginning, everything was new. You got new clothes, you might get a new hairstyle, you got a new class, you got a new teacher. So I want our audience to consider this is also a new way of thinking. So while we're starting a new year with everything else being new, this is a new way of thinking. If you've been doing any type of savings that looks like what Candace and I spoke about, whether it's a box and a mattress, or you're walking into a bank, just know that's fine. That's fine in a sense because you didn't know. And when you don't know, you can't move accordingly. But we're here to like elevate that conversation and know that if you've got that 529 that Candace spoke about, I just want to, lift the veil of ignorance just a little bit on that, because I know a lot of my clients really didn't know. They thought that what they were doing was great, and it is until it isn't. Right. And what that basically means is that, I was one of those teachers that I realized, not every child is going to go to college. And that's okay. That's so okay. I had an issue with my car not too long ago, and I could care less if that mechanic went to college or not. I just need him to fix my car correctly.
Just do the job.
Just do the job. Just get it done. And what happens is the limitations to those 529s, not only can they, depend on how they're structured, they also have a lot of unguarantees as well.
Yes.
But the biggest thing is, what if your child grows up and becomes an amazing pastry chef? And now they're going to go fly and live in Paris and bake croissants and amazing tarts. That money in that 529 is not supposed to be used for that. And it's not. And because of that, it structures very differently when you go to access it. That's a rude awakening. And my average client doesn't know that. Or what if your child is blessed with a full scholarship? And now say, okay, well, I don't need the money for college, but God, it'd be cool to buy a little Bucci car. Well, that's not what you're supposed to do with that. So there's all these limitations. And again, it doesn't even work like the account that Candace spoke about. Not because there's limitations, and I don't believe in limiting anybody. I know your money doesn't need to be limited. Your dreams doesn't need to be limited. Nothing about your life should be in that framework of I can only do A, B, C, and D. No, right. That's just not how we were built and made to live and exist in the world. So with that being said, if you start at 529, I want you to pat yourself on the back and say, I was disciplined. I was moving in the right direction. Now it's just time to take a detour. That's all.
Yeah. And not to cut you off, Mom, but I want to interject and just say you had the right intentions. Right?
Yeah.
you went to go and get, even if it's a savings account that you opened up for your child, you're doing better than most because you're even thinking about planning about the future. So I feel like, don't let me get in history teacher mode right now, but
Okay.
historically speaking, we have had so many generations and so many years in time on this earth where we have had to just focus on surviving. So everybody has just been in survival mode. Let me get past today. So if you're even thinking about tomorrow, let alone 10, 20 years later, bravo. That's just the first step because it says a lot about your mindset. And your mindset will really determine what happens in general. You're in the right direction. Now it's just time to tweak some things, or what I like to say, upgrade, because upgrades are valid. We do upgrades on our cell phones all the time. Why not our investments, especially if it's needed?
Exactly. And I love the fact that you talked about the fact that, in our community, we've only viewed life insurance as a particular vehicle.
Right.
And that's fine. I get it because historically you only knew what you knew. But now that you know that this is some of the secret sauce that the wealthy do, and that's all this really is. We take a look at what people have, what they've acquired, what they build, and we say, oh, that looks cool. I really want that. Well, that's fine. However, you got to be able to do what they do. And that means you got to know what they know. So when we sit with families and we let them know this is an option, this is actually what we recommend, it's what a plethora of our clients absolutely gravitate toward, then it's just your turn to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's new school year, new thinking, new thought, new everything.
Yeah. It's just important to stay in the student mindset, I'll say, never stop learning. It's so funny because my brother, he has this phrase he lives by. He says ABC, and it stands for always be closing, because he's a real estate agent, right? When you're closing, you're helping people with housing and things like that. For me, I believe in that as well, because when I'm closing and when we're closing, we're helping families in their futures financially. So always be closing here. But a flip or an alternative to that one is ABL, always be learning. Never stop learning. My grandmother told me, when you stop learning, you stop living. And so we may live long lives, but if you feel like you got it and there's nothing you need to learn more, you're an expert at this life thing, and you're in your 50s, in your 30s, in your 20s, in your 60s, in your 70s, then you kind of already died, because you think you know it all, but the world is continuously circling. There's new things that are coming about. You see how crazy of a time we're living in right now. We came from the coronavirus with different strands and different variants. Now we got monkeypox. I don't even know what we're going to get tomorrow or next year. I pray it's not that. But if you're not learning and if you're not evolving, you're not ready for what's to come, because literally the unexpected is something that you need to expect.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true. I forgot about the monkeypox. Yeah,
that's crazy, right?
I can't even speak on it because I know so little about it. But what I also thought about was the fact that that whole learning curve is so critical to life and growth in general. That it's the same thing when you think about not just the money for you and your children, but think about your life as well. And what Candace and I are doing here with helping families is an option for everybody on this call. So if you're a listener and you're thinking, well, I definitely need to know more about that, you also may be thinking, well, how else can I learn and change my life? And that's what this business has done for me as well. So I always have to intertwine that, and KJ knows that, because what we do here is not only educate you, but we actually are life changers.
Yes.
We change people's lives, and your girl is included in that. Things I've done with, oh my God, if you had ever told me when I was in my 40s that I would have retired from teaching early. First of all, I would have retired from teaching early and went into a whole nother industry, helping families with finance. I could teach second and third grade math and fifth grade division, but helping people with money, man, you talk about learning and happy. I'm so excited about this business. I'm so excited. It is what's today? Thursday.
Yep.
If I was still teaching, I'd be walking my class to lunch.
Around this time, yes, you would.
And
Yes,
I would have had 20 minutes to eat that lunch.
my goodness. And I
20
want you
minutes.
guys to know that was a big motivator for me. Being her child, I saw how much she sacrificed for everybody else's kids, right? Making sure that they were good when they were in her, hands, I should say, for the school day. And the sacrifices she would make to make sure she could show up for them on a daily basis, even when it wasn't necessary, she would still accommodate because it's about the kids, right? And the moment that things changed and she needed to prioritize herself, they weren't so gracious with her sick days or her PTO or time off in general. And I remember looking at that and being in college at the time. And I just was like, at first in high school, I noticed it because it was time she wanted to take away from my older brother, which was, he was an athlete. So he had baseball games, traveling all the time. Then he was graduating. So it was just events that family needs to be present for, right? Mm-hmm. And they weren't so gracious with her time off. And so then it was my turn. I'm in college and she's going through the same stuff. And I'm just like, I'll be damned. I'll be damned. Not my mama. That was my perspective, So I knew immediately it was the passion that drove me to figuring it out. I had no idea that God was going to put me in a position to meet some powerful people that had access to amazing platforms that were going to teach me how to really be a giant in this industry. I had no idea. I thought I was going to be a lawyer. And for obvious reasons in the Black and Brown community, that's needed too. But I realized that finance was really, it was the trickle down effect that led what happened in everybody's life across the nation, across the world. And then when I bring it down to a simpler focus, my household, my mother, my family, it was especially the difference. Because what does it look like if you're a teacher? Just using my mom as an example. What does it look like if you're a teacher and you're financially set, right? We can use the stable example or the independent example. If the school district tells you that you can't take off without not getting paid, do you care? A little bit less, at least, because it's still about the kids. But when you have that financial confidence, because you know that you're good financially, now you have the freedom to make decisions that are better for you and your focus, because you're not in survival mode. When we can get out of survival mode, I think that's when the thriving starts to happen, because then you focus on what really matters, because you don't have to survive anymore.
That's such a big deal. That whole survival mode is that we think differently, we move differently, we even breathe differently. I mean, there are studies that talk about how your breathing becomes more shallow when you're stressed. Yeah. And none of us on this call usually don't sleep at night because we're worried if the tree is growing in the front yard. We're not sleeping at night because we're worried about money. There's financial issues, whether it's a bill, how am I going to pay for that? This is due tomorrow. Oh my God, what about the taxes? All those things affect our health.
Yeah.
And we say all the time in this business that health is wealth. Mm-hmm. And when your finances are right, I guarantee you sleep way better at night. Mm-hmm. I am so grateful for what I've been able to do just in turn with my life. And because Candace and I are really big on the fact that nobody is too heavy for us to lift and bring along. This journey is not meant to be done by ourselves, and everybody can go with us on this journey. That's a really big deal. Mm-hmm. I know Candace has had stories like myself where clients and families come back, even in the middle of a meeting or at the end of the meeting, they just pause, and sometimes they're just like, and I said, what's going on? Tell me what you're thinking. They're just like, I had no idea that I could be doing this.
Yeah.
Where was this information when I was in my 30s or my 40s? And some people get emotional, right, Candace?
Yeah.
I've had people take a minute and have to like wipe tears, because what Candace and I also understand is that money is highly emotional.
Yes.
It's very, very emotional. And a lot of people don't want to talk about that. But because we're here to advance and elevate the conversation, let's be very clear that everything about our lives is centered around money.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it has nothing to do with greed. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with the fact that it is an important tool that we all utilize every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. And I just want to say, because I think oftentimes people will use have you ever heard the phrase, money isn't everything though, right? And people will use those kind of phrases and concepts and ideologies to deter away from the huge weight and the huge role that it plays in everything that happens in your life. It makes a difference in what time you have to wake up and what time you choose to wake up. It makes a difference in what you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It makes a difference of where you pull up and park your car and reside and go to sleep every single day. It makes a difference in the kind of life that you live. Now, given that weight that I'm giving it, it isn't everything, but it is right up there with oxygen. We need money to survive. That's just the world that we live in. This is America. It is a capitalist society. You excel with money and you have a harder life without it. So if we can have any role in helping you get that money, please believe we're going to do that, because we really do believe that that is God's work. Now, balance is important as well. So I wanted to point out that money isn't everything phrase, because I know a lot of people that will say that and do that. I want to say that money may not be everything, but it is extremely important, and it is important to have balance. Abundance should be holistic in your life, right? Not just abundance of money, but abundance of love, right? Abundance of support, abundance of health, abundance of everything that you need to be full in your identity. But please don't use that as an scapegoat, or an excuse not to invest the time that's needed to learn money so that you can have a better tomorrow and a better future.
Yeah, that's real talk. And I'm going to go on a limb and say someone once said, it was actually a mentor that said, someone told me, money can't buy happiness. And he turned around and said, you're just shopping in the wrong place, son. I had to think about that. I was like, wow, that's true. Because think about it. And I had a client, I kid you not, Candace, I had a client that her goal in saving her money, an account you referenced, was that she wanted to create a fund and leave it for her church. That's her happiness. That's her happiness. So it doesn't matter. They said, you're shopping in the wrong place. I'm like, well, I want to shop where you shopping, because I definitely like being happy. So, and and even if, I'm depressed, then you can afford to get the best therapy. Whatever it is that you feel is missing that money can't give you, have a conversation with me. I guarantee you I'll be able to structure it quite differently for you.
100%. You just have more options when you have more money.
Yeah.
You can afford to make a choice because you have a choice now.
You have a choice, and choices are everything. I can't say, Candace, I'm going to take you to dinner, sit her down in a restaurant, and I said, don't give her a menu because she can only get a burger.
Right.
Where's the choice in it?
I would not like that, because listen, I love choices.
Right. Yeah, we all do. And we need to stop, just be more transparent about life, And most of us haven't even been trained, taught, or supported in whatever we do in life. So whatever, as you're a listener on this call, I don't know where you work, your place of employment, but think heavily about how much you've been supported, trained, mentored, equipped, helped, inspired. And I would bet good money in Vegas on a bad day, they're missing the mark. They're missing the mark. And that's the difference between also what Candace and I do here. We will bring you in, show you, and teach you. You're going to learn. You're going to grow. You're going to be motivated. You're going to be inspired. We're going to show you that the cup of life is full. You just been drinking from the wrong cup. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Mom, because I think this would be insightful.
Okay.
Because I know we're talking a lot about money in general. We touched on scholarships. We touched on some specific investments that are great for students that plan to go to school, or the parents that are trying to do the planning for the children. And in general, just mindset and approach when it comes to money. My question to you is, being that you came from a place that is so different from where you are today, and I just want to compliment you, because you are living your best life, sis. Okay? And it's all over you. You glow different. Your speech has some more umph in it. You know, you can just tell when somebody is doing something right, you know.
Thank
And
you.
I can tell. It's all over. And I'm nothing but God. I've been praying for this and it's here and it's just amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. My question is,
Mhm.
coming from a place that is not so I won't say not so abundant, but not so flourishing, you know,
Mhm, mhm,
it's not as free spirited, or it's
mhm,
not as free, not free will, but you didn't have as many options, I'll say, or you didn't have the choices that you have now.
mhm.
What is the advice that you would give to somebody that may be in that same space that you were in? It doesn't have to be a teacher exactly, but in general, they're at a space where they feel like, dang, how am I going to walk away from this? I have all these responsibilities. I can't do it. And no matter how valid their reasons may be, at the end of the day, they are excuses because they're keeping them back.
Right.
What would be your word of advice to that person?
It's kind of, thank you. That's a great question. The first thing would be to sit still by yourself in a space where there's no distraction and just simply ask yourself, what do I want?
Hmm.
What do I want? And that's such an open ended question, but however you answer it is the right answer. That's one.
Mhm.
Then what you do is say, now, why don't I have it?
Hmm.
Because once you identify what you want and you figure out why you don't have it, then you can move accordingly.
Yes.
And the pandemic was a game changer for me. It clearly made it clear that all these people, structures, businesses, corporations, they all failed us. And not necessarily was their fault or not, but I think it was more our fault because we were dependent upon them.
Yeah.
They got us, they got it, we good, we good. So once you find out what you want, find out why you don't have it, now you can move accordingly. And usually it's not their fault. It is all on you. It's never really about somebody else. It's really all about you. And the best part of this, and I like what you said that, is that how am I going to do this? You take the first step. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is that if I hadn't received the kind of support and tutelage and training and assistance, I probably would still be stuck and stupid as well. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but what happens is we get stuck in a place where we can't even receive the information.
Mm-hmm.
So by me being able to start learning all over again at 56 on a schedule that worked for me, and no, I didn't leave teaching immediately. I slowly segged my way in and found my space because I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
And if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Bingo.
So
I
yes,
love that answer.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I ask that because I know it's a lot of people that are out there, and whether they're listening right now or they'll listen later to the recording,
Mm-hmm.
I just know that there's so many people out there that want to take a leap of faith.
Oh yeah.
They want and they realize that they need better. And even if they haven't gotten to that point, they realize it's a problem with where they are, right? Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
something's not doing it for me where I am, you know, whether it's the confinement, the lack of money, the lack of time for my family, you know, whatever that looks like, you know, it could
Yeah.
be relationships, it could be anything. I just want them to have that guidance and wisdom of what it looks like to be able to elevate and evolve. And I'll say
Yeah.
the growth process is ugly. The growth process is hard. And what I can appreciate about times like this where we can talk is we're not going to water it down. We're going to
Mm-mm.
exactly what it is, and it's just a matter of you stepping up to that and being willing to go through that process or not. And just
Yeah.
if you're not, you are where you are and nothing changes, and you already know what that looks like. So just understand that kind of decision that you're making by not doing the hard part.
I love that. That's so incredibly true. I know, I'm hoping there's some men listening to this, but I was listening to a quick little interview, a former football player named Shannon Sharp. And he was talking about letting that great woman get away. And he had such a moment of regret in that sense. But he said something I think is applicable here. He said, the head will delete what the heart won't forget. And I thought that was really powerful. And it's the same thing here. So while you will think about all the reasons why you can't or shouldn't, your heart hasn't forgotten it. And it will show up every single time if you just give it that space and that time to present itself. Yeah. So, if I can be a role model and you can be a role model, we're in different generations, but we're in the same space on the same planet at the same time.
Yeah.
And if we can do it, you surely can do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yay, us.
I want to ask another question.
Okay.
Bringing the conversation back to scholarships, because I know some people are here like strictly for that information. What is the best? I know what the answer is, but I want to ask so that they can get the answer. Mm-hmm. What is the number one tactic or the number one habit or strategy that you would put at the top of the list for acquiring scholarships that are very much so available?
Good question. They need to meet with me. For sure. You want to meet with me for sure. But the number one tactic is you need to be bold in acquisition. And that is that a closed mouth doesn't get fed. And sadly, and I mean no disrespect here, but the average high school, college counselor isn't that avenue to get that information. Because what they do is they send children to websites. Go here, go here, go here. And that's not where you're going to find information because it's a World Wide Web for a reason. So the small grassroots are really the nuggets in getting scholarships. And if you could think back to some of your most lucrative ones, they didn't come from a national website. They came from small grassroots organizations, and they came by way of just the networking that I was able to do, or we were able to do, and you could get the results that way. For sure. But there's so much to that we really should sit in a meeting. So if you're at, and don't think that, and this is the other thing I found, that the average family, like this year, we're in August. I guarantee you, I'm going to get so many phone calls in March.
Yeah.
In March. My kid's going to such and such. I need your help. Babe, the sale started in August. This is the last day of the sale. We can do what we can do, but the good stuff's picked over.
Yeah.
So you got to be proactive and move quickly.
Yeah.
And you got to do that. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I was just thinking back to when I was in high school, and my mom and dad had this rule where I could not go out until I had a scholarship application submitted for the week. So it started like right now, like high school students, they're back in school, right? They're getting their classes for the semester. They're figuring out what their schedules are really going to look and feel like. They're getting in the groove, right? So I got class from this time to this time. I got practice from this time to this time. If I got my extracurriculars, I know what time it is. So they're getting the feel of what a full week really feels like, right? And I remember that time. For one, it was fun because you see all your friends again. And
oh, God, yeah.
It's fun. But you want to have fun, like, especially if it's your senior year, even if it's your junior year, you want to have fun. You back with your girls, you back with your homeboys, you want to have fun. So for me, it was like, I got to do a scholarship application before I can go and have fun with my peoples. I just got reconnected with them. I was so irked with the responsibility of it. But looking back and on the flip side, I remember the moment that the checks started rolling in, I was getting those emails like, congratulations, you've been approved. You got this check for $5,000 coming in this month. You got $1,000 coming this month, $10,000. I remember I got a $20,000 one. And it was just like, thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
So much. Yeah. Let me sit my butt down, write that essay, and tell the world how amazing of a person I am. Because also in that process, I learned discipline, right? Whether it was chosen or not. I had to be disciplined because that was the only way I was going to do the fun that I wanted. And then I got a whole bunch of money that I was able to just have choices when I was in college. The only time that I kept a job was to build my resume. I didn't have to work. because I just had that much scholarship money. And
who says that in college? I didn't have to work.
I didn't have to. I did it because I'm a little crazy and I like to, always be growing. I guess that's another ABG, huh? But but I just like to challenge myself, I wanted to make sure I didn't let a year go by with me just only doing school because I knew it was more to the world than that. But that's the flexibility that money gives.
Man, it's amazing. Again, you came by happiness, but you're shopping in the wrong place. That's all. That's all. So I'm gonna have to take the point of privilege here because we're getting close to 1:00.
Yeah.
And I have another eager client that wants to know about how money works.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to kind of draw this to an end, but know that Candace and I will be back. This will not be the last time you see us. You're gonna see us on a very consistent basis. So you're welcome to connect with us however you want to. I know, Kendra, you're going to maybe put our information in, or how you want to do that?
You already know I'm about to do it right now. You know how I do.
Okay.
So
this is so fun. And then as we close out, just know that, Candace, I'm just so excited every day. I wake up so grateful because, I get to do what I want to do and on my own time and my own schedule, and I'm still teaching. That's the thing. I'm still sitting within my power of being an educator. I'm just changing the curriculum, and I'm bringing people along for the ride.
Exactly.
Come on, that's dope.
Big energy. Let's go.
It's all God. I love to see this happen. This was literally all a part of the plan, and that is the peace that I have knowing. When we both were younger, right? And I was realizing like I need to get my mom in a position to just be able to walk away from that career, walk away from that job. I had no idea it would look like this, and neither did you, but God always knew. And so all of this has always been intentional. Every step has been ordained, and I'm blessed and honored to be living in purpose with my mom. Oh my gosh. And you're in the best health. So I know this is only the beginning. And let's just keep on doing it. Thank you, Kendra, for the platform as well. This is amazing.
You already know the vibes. Y'all know the vibes. People most definitely will be hitting y'all up, so it's on the Eastern time is like 3-something, over there is like, lunchtime over there. So for sure, like I'm excited, for everything y'all have to teach the people, and it's going to be people connecting to y'all. So continue being great. Thank you for coming to the platform. So so
why not us?
Why not us? For sure, man. Why not us, man? I love it. So y'all go I'll put your phone number in the comments. Candace, what would you like? Want me to put your phone number, or
go ahead and put my phone number and my go ahead and put my Instagram as well.
All right, so give me your Instagram.
It's Candice, CANDISS, and then Cree, CREE. Candice Cree.
IG, I got you.
You guys can follow me, keep up with me. I'm posting inspirational stuff all the time. And also have some amazing things and projects that I'm working on that will be very impactful for you guys too. You can find out more about it there.
That's what it is, y'all. That's what it is. It's Why Not Us podcast. It's Thursday Treasures with Carol and Candace Hart. And y'all ain't seen nothing yet. They here to teach, and y'all better hit them up, because guess what? They make their own schedule.
Don't get better than that.
They make their own schedule, and she over there, both of them glowing, so they doing great things. So
thank you, Kendra. God bless you, love.
We know the vibes. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You can be what you wanna be. See what you wanna see. Go where you wanna go. Oh. Why not? Why not us? Why not us? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why Not Us podcast with Ken J.